Ladies and gentlemen, when someone disrespects you, the first instinct is often to react. Words form in your mind, emotions surge, and you feel the urge to defend yourself or strike back. But true strength lies not in reacting, but in restraint. It lies in the ability to stay quiet in the face of disrespect, to choose silence over chaos. Silence is not weakness, it's mastery. It's the recognition that you don't have to lower yourself to the level of the one who disrespects you. It's the realization that your energy, your peace, and your focus are far too valuable to be handed over to someone who doesn't deserve them. Think about it. When you react, you give them power. You let their words or actions dictate your emotions and your day. But when you stay quiet, you reclaim control. You send a message that their words don't define you, that their opinions don't shape your worth. Silence isn't just about not speaking, it's about intentionality. It's about taking a moment to reflect and decide what truly matters. Does this moment of disrespect impact your goals? Does it change the path you're walking? Most often it doesn't. It's just noise, temporary, fleeting noise, and you have the power to rise above it. There's a quiet confidence in staying silent. It says, I know who I am and I don't need to prove it to you. It says, I have better things to focus on than your attempt to provoke me. It's a sign of emotional intelligence, self-discipline, and an unshakable sense of self-worth. But silence is not the same as submission. Staying quiet doesn't mean tolerating disrespect indefinitely. It means choosing the right time and the right way to address it, if it even deserves your energy. Some battles are better fought with results. Let your success speak for you. Let your actions echo louder than any words could. The world will always have critics, doubters, and those who try to tear you down, but their words are powerless unless you give them weight. When you stay quiet, you show that you're untouchable, that their negativity has no place in your journey. So the next time someone disrespects you, pause, breathe, and remember that your silence is your strength. It's not about ignoring the world, it's about prioritizing your peace, your growth, and your dreams over temporary distractions. Stay quiet, stay focused, and let your life speak for itself. Silence is often misunderstood. People sometimes equate silence with weakness, assuming that staying quiet in the face of disrespect is a sign of being passive or submissive. In reality, silence is one of the most powerful tools in your emotional and mental arsenal. It is not a lack of response, but a deliberate choice to exercise control over your actions and emotions. When faced with disrespect, the instinctive reaction might be to retaliate, whether through words, actions, or even body language. The human tendency is to defend oneself, to react quickly in order to set things straight. But here's the thing. Reacting to disrespect, especially impulsively, only strengthens the power of the person disrespecting you. It feeds their need for attention, fuels the conflict, and often leads to escalation. Your emotions become tangled in a cycle where you're no longer controlling the situation controls you. Choosing silence, however, is an act of immense strength. It shows a high level of emotional intelligence and maturity. You are not reacting to the situation based on an emotional impulse. Instead, you are exercising the power of restraint. Silence allows you to maintain your composure and think clearly. By not reacting immediately, you protect your energy, keeping it from being drained by a situation that does not deserve it. You are saying, I do not need to engage with negativity because I am above it. This power in silence lies in your ability to recognize that not all situations demand a response. Disrespect, though hurtful, is often more about the person dishing it out than it is about you. When someone disrespects you, it speaks to their character, not yours. Their words are an expression of their internal struggles, frustrations, or insecurities. If you choose to engage in a heated exchange, you may end up validating their behavior. In contrast, remaining silent allows you to rise above the situation. It does not grant them the satisfaction of knowing they've ruffled your feathers. Instead, it maintains your dignity and ensures that you don't lose sight of what truly matters in your life. Think about the individuals who truly inspire you. The most impactful leaders, mentors, and role models aren't those who constantly argue or defend themselves. They're the ones who choose their battles wisely, who remain calm under pressure, and who respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Their power isn't in their ability to argue, but in their ability to hold space, to stand firm in their values, and to let their actions speak louder than words. By choosing silence in the face of disrespect, you not only preserve your inner peace, But you also signal to the world that you are not easily shaken. Silence is not submission. It is self-mastery. It is the recognition that you are in control of your own narrative, and you choose not to let anyone disrupt your peace with their negativity. In a world where it's easy to get caught up in arguments and pointless confrontations, silence is a rare form of strength. It is the strength to rise above the noise, to stay grounded in your own sense of self, and to refuse to let disrespect change the course of your day or your life. True power lies not in reacting to disrespect, but in choosing how and when to respond. And sometimes, when you choose to remain silent in the face of disrespect, you are reclaiming control over your emotions. In any moment of tension or confrontation, there's a split-second decision: react or respond. The difference between these two lies in how much control you maintain over yourself and the situation. Reacting is impulsive. It's a knee-jerk response, usually driven by emotion. It often leads to escalation, unnecessary conflict, and a loss of composure. Responding, on the other hand, is deliberate. It's a thoughtful process where you are aware of your emotions, but you are not ruled by them. By staying silent, you are responding in a way that keeps you in command of the situation. When someone disrespects you, it can trigger strong emotions: anger, frustration, hurt, or confusion. These emotions are valid and human, but they don't have to dictate your next action. When you react immediately, you allow those feelings to dictate your behavior. This is where you lose control. The disrespectful person has essentially won because they've gotten you to the point where your emotions are driving your actions. You've allowed them to pull you into their emotional whirlwind, and now your focus is on defending your ego or proving a point, rather than preserving your peace. Silence, however, serves as a buffer. It gives you the space to process your emotions and make a conscious choice about how to proceed. Rather than becoming entangled in a back and forth that only deepens the conflict, you take a moment to center yourself. You take a step back and assess the situation more rationally. Does this moment of disrespect truly deserve your emotional energy? Does this person's opinion have any bearing on your value or your goals? Often, the answer is no. By staying silent, you gain clarity. You can observe the situation without getting emotionally swept away. You can decide if the situation is worth your time, energy, and attention, or if it's better to let it go and move on. This practice of pausing before reacting allows you to control your emotional state instead of being controlled by it. You aren't ignoring your feelings. You are acknowledging them and choosing not to let them control your behavior. Remaining silent also protects you from saying things you might regret. In the heat of the moment, words can be sharp and hurtful. Once spoken, they can't be taken back. Reacting out of anger or frustration may escalate the situation to the point where both sides lose. When you stay silent, you avoid making rash decisions that could damage relationships or cause further harm. It's about being in charge of your response and ensuring that your actions align with your values rather than allowing the moment to dictate them for you. If control over your reactions is one of the greatest forms of self-mastery, it demonstrates emotional maturity and strength of character. In choosing silence, you are exercising the power to remain steady amidst chaos. You are not allowing anyone's disrespect to derail your focus or throw you off course. Instead, you choose to stay centered, preserving your emotional well-being and ensuring that your actions are always in line with your higher purpose. Silence, in this sense, becomes a shield, protecting your peace, your focus, and your inner strength from external disturbances. When someone disrespects you, it's easy to feel personally attacked. The words or actions may sting, and you might instinctively want to defend yourself. However, it's crucial to remember that disrespect says more about the person offering it than it does about you. Their words or behavior are often a reflection of their own frustrations, insecurities, or internal struggles. It's important to recognize that their actions do not define your worth or your value. By staying silent in the face of disrespect, you send a powerful message to yourself and others. You are secure in who you are, and no one's negativity can shake your sense of self. People often react to disrespect as if it is an attack on their identity or self-worth. But when you are rooted in a strong sense of self, you begin to understand that what others think or say about you does not determine who you are. You are not defined by the opinions of others. You are defined by your actions, values, and the way you carry yourself. Staying quiet in the face of disrespect is a reminder to yourself that your value isn't contingent on how others treat you or perceive you. You are not at the mercy of their words, and your sense of self remains unshaken, no matter how they try to undermine you. This recognition of your own worth allows you to rise above the situation. Disrespectful people often look for reactions, hoping to provoke an emotional response that validates their actions. When you remain silent, you deny them that satisfaction. You are not handing over your emotional energy to someone who doesn't deserve it. Instead, you are preserving your peace and showing that their behavior has no power over you. You are communicating that their words do not affect your self-worth, and that you refuse to let their negativity dictate your mood or your actions. Staying silent also demonstrates a level of emotional maturity and resilience. It is an act of self-respect. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, especially someone who disrespects you. The need to defend yourself in the face of disrespect often comes from an underlying desire to prove that you are worthy or right. But when you are secure in who you are, you don't feel the need to justify yourself. Your silence becomes a reflection of this inner security. You know who you are, and you don't need the approval or validation of others to confirm it. Moreover, staying quiet is a way of maintaining boundaries. By not reacting, you establish a clear line between yourself and those who try to bring negativity into your life. You are setting the tone for how you will be treated, showing that you will not tolerate behavior that diminishes your worth or undermines your dignity. Your silence says, I will not engage with disrespect, and in doing so, you protect your emotional well-being and maintain the integrity of your relationships. In the end, when you choose silence over responding to disrespect, you send a message not just to the person who disrespects you, but to the world around you. You understand that your worth is intrinsic. It is not based on external validation or the opinions of others. By staying quiet, you demonstrate your emotional resilience, your self-respect, and your unwavering belief in your own value. Silence in the face of disrespect isn't simply a passive response. It is an intentional choice to step back, gain perspective, and evaluate the situation before reacting. In moments of tension or conflict, it can be easy to get swept up in the emotions of the moment. The impulse to defend yourself, to argue, or to prove your point can be strong. But often, reacting impulsively leads to escalation, miscommunication, and regret. Silence gives you the power to take a step back, slow down, and think through your response carefully, if any response is even necessary at all. By choosing silence, you take a moment to assess the situation objectively. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to feel personally attacked and let emotions cloud your judgment. However, taking a pause allows you to remove yourself from the immediate reaction and view the situation from a wider perspective. You can evaluate the intent behind the disrespect and whether it truly warrants a response. Often, disrespect comes from a place of insecurity, frustration, or an attempt to provoke. By staying silent, you deny that attempt and give yourself the space to determine if addressing it is worth your time and energy. This moment of pause is not just about preventing rash actions, but also about emotional intelligence. It's an acknowledgement that reacting in the moment, while natural, is often not the best way to handle the situation. Instead, you give yourself the opportunity to process your feelings and to decide what kind of person you want to be in the face of adversity. Will you rise to the occasion, maintaining your integrity, or will you engage in a back and forth that ultimately leads to more negativity? Silence empowers you to make a conscious decision based on your values, not on the fleeting emotions that arise from being disrespected. Silence also allows you to conserve your energy. When you engage in a confrontation or argument, it takes emotional and mental resources. The back and forth, the need to justify yourself, or the attempt to win the argument can leave you drained, especially when the disrespect is trivial or unimportant. By staying quiet, you avoid getting caught up in a draining cycle and protect your energy for more meaningful pursuits. You maintain your focus on what truly matters, whether it's your goals, relationships, or personal peace, rather than expending it on someone who isn't worth your time. Moreover, silence gives you control over the outcome. Reacting impulsively in the heat of the moment often leads to regrettable actions, such as saying something you didn't mean or escalating the situation unnecessarily. Staying quiet ensures that you are in control of the interaction rather than letting the disrespectful person provoke you into a response. It puts you in a position where you are responding from a place of clarity and thoughtfulness rather than reacting from emotion. Choosing silence also communicates strength. In a world where many are quick to argue or defend themselves, those who can remain composed and thoughtful in the face of disrespect stand out. It shows maturity and self-awareness, traits that are often more powerful than any word or argument. Silence in this context is not avoidance, but an active decision to focus on what matters and not to let someone else's negativity disrupt your peace. It is about choosing to invest your emotional energy where it will have a positive impact rather than allowing an unimportant interaction to dominate your thoughts or actions. In essence, silence allows you to think before you act, ensures that you conserve your emotional resources, and helps you maintain control over the situation. It is a conscious decision to not be ruled by impulsive reactions, but to respond thoughtfully and intentionally, ensuring that your actions align with your values and long-term goals. When you choose to remain silent in the face of disrespect, it is an act of confidence in yourself and your ability to handle difficult situations with composure. The impulse to defend oneself, to argue, or to prove a point often stems from insecurity or the desire for validation. However, when you are truly secure in who you are, you don't feel the need to justify your existence or your worth to anyone. Staying quiet in the face of disrespect signals to others and to yourself that you are comfortable with who you are and that you don't need external validation to affirm your value. Many people feel compelled to react when they are disrespected because they fear that if they don't defend themselves, they might appear weak or inferior. However, this fear is based on a misconception. The truth is, confidence is not about constantly asserting yourself or proving you are right. It's about knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. True confidence is rooted in self-awareness and self-respect. When you are confident in your own abilities, values, and worth, you don't need to argue with people who try to bring you down. You don't need to waste energy trying to convince others of your value. You simply know your worth, and that knowledge gives you the strength to remain calm and composed. Staying quiet in the face of disrespect is a sign of strength because it demonstrates that you are in control of your emotions. You are not allowing someone else's behavior to determine how you feel or act. This is a key aspect of emotional intelligence, being able to manage your reactions and maintain your composure even in challenging situations. When you remain silent, you show that you are not easily provoked and that you are able to rise above the situation. You demonstrate that your peace is more important than engaging in a fruitless exchange and that your self-worth is not tied to how others treat you. Moreover, silence allows you to assert your boundaries without needing to justify them. When someone disrespects you, they are crossing a line. By staying silent, you communicate that you will not tolerate disrespect and you will not engage with behavior that diminishes your dignity. You don't need to argue or prove anything to anyone because your silence already speaks volumes. You are sending the message that you have set boundaries and you expect others to respect them. This form of silent confidence is far more powerful than any verbal confrontation because it is rooted in a deep sense of self. Confidence is also about being selective with your energy. When you engage in arguments or respond to disrespect, you are often expending emotional and mental energy on things that don't deserve it. Instead of getting drawn into unnecessary conflicts, you can choose to conserve your energy for the things that truly matter: your personal growth, your goals, and the relationships that nourish you. By staying quiet, you are preserving your energy and investing it in areas of your life that align with your values and aspirations. In the end, the decision to stay silent in the face of disrespect is a testament to your confidence. It shows that you are secure in who you are, that you don't need external validation to feel worthy, and that you can rise above negativity with grace and composure. It is a powerful reminder that true strength lies not in reacting to every slight or insult, but in knowing when silence is the most powerful response. When you remain silent after being disrespected, you send a message not only to the person who disrespects you, but to the world around you. Silence in this context is not about avoidance. It's about a deliberate choice to let your actions and your results speak for themselves. Often the people who disrespect you are looking for a reaction, a validation of their behavior, or an opportunity to provoke. By choosing silence, you deny them that power, and instead you focus on showing through your actions that you are above the pettiness of their disrespect. The best way to address disrespect is not through confrontation, but through living your life in a way that proves your worth and reinforces your values. When you remain silent, you refuse to engage in a back and forth that only serves to diminish your dignity. Instead, you channel your energy into what truly matters: your work, your personal growth, and the pursuit of your goals. Disrespectful people are often caught up in their own insecurities or frustrations. They may try to tear you down in order to make themselves feel better. However, by letting your life speak for you, you shift the focus from their negativity to the positive impact you are making in the world. Your silence is a declaration that you are more focused on your long-term goals than on the temporary distractions of negativity. Actions have a lasting effect, while words are fleeting. When you focus on achieving your goals and demonstrating your capabilities, you show that you are not interested in wasting time with those who would try to distract you. Success speaks louder than words ever could. It serves as the most powerful response to anyone who tries to disrespect you, because no amount of negativity can diminish the results you've worked hard to achieve. Your silence becomes a testament to your resilience, dedication, and the strength of your character. In this sense, silence is a form of self-empowerment. You refuse to let the negativity of others dictate your life. Instead, you keep your eyes on the bigger picture, knowing that your efforts will pay off in the long run. Disrespect may come in many forms, an insult, an accusation, or an attempt to undermine your abilities, but none of these can hold weight against your actions. Your achievements and your integrity will always speak louder than any words meant to tear you down. Moreover, by staying silent, you make a powerful statement about your boundaries. You are not engaging with behavior that doesn't align with your values. You are asserting, through your actions, that you will not entertain disrespect. The more you demonstrate this in your life, the more you establish a reputation as someone who stands firm in their principles. People will begin to understand that you are not someone to be disrespected, not because you argue or react, but because you live your life in a way that commands respect. Your silence becomes a form of strength, signaling that you are not interested in the petty drama of those who seek to bring you down. Choosing silence doesn't mean you are weak or avoiding confrontation. It means you are choosing a better, more effective path, one that is centered on self-respect, personal growth, and long-term success. It shows that you understand that the best way to handle disrespect is not to fight it with words, but to rise above it with action. In the end, it is your life, your success, and your character that will leave the lasting impression, far more than any words ever could. In choosing silence in the face of disrespect, you demonstrate a profound strength that goes beyond mere words or reactions. Silence allows you to preserve your peace, maintain control over your emotions, and protect your energy from unnecessary conflict. It shows the world that your value is not determined by the opinions or actions of others, but by your own sense of self-worth and inner confidence. Through silence, you rise above the negativity, setting boundaries that reflect your standards and asserting control over your life's narrative. It is not about avoiding confrontation, but about consciously choosing not to engage in fruitless exchanges that diminish your dignity. In the end, your silence is a powerful statement, one that speaks louder than any words or actions from those who seek to bring you down. It is the quiet strength of knowing that the most powerful response to disrespect is often simply to remain unshaken, focused on your goals, and committed to your path.